welcome to part 2 of the Evans Gambit series. 5 years later, I apologize deeply for taking so long to continue this series. That was not the plan. Some of my other YouTube channels took off and I've just been completely sidetracked, but it is time to do this. Evans Gambit, it's one of my favorite openings. In the first part of this series, we went over this line right here where you get into the Evans Gambit. And I'm going to assume that you already know at least these opening moves right here. I just played them on the board. And in the first part, after the Evans Gambit, we're with the accepted Gambit, where you play C3. And I had the bishop going back to C5. And in that case, bishop goes back to C5. We just immediately castle right there. And I went through several possible moves after that, breaking forward with D4. So you can check out that. Link will be in the description for that part 1 video. But in today's video, we're going to look at what about the bishop backing up to A5. This is actually the better move. And what to do in this case. Do we castle here like we do when the bishop goes to C5? No. Here you bust up with D4, which is crazy because after D4, he's going to be like, your opponent's going to be like, dude, I'm just going to take this. And you can't even take back because of the pin. But what do? Now you castle. We have ultra development. We are not worrying about pawns. And from this position, we're going to look at 3 moves in today's video in part 2 of the series that you'll see often. First of all, just taking. This is the most common at the lower levels. You're going to see it all the time. They're just going to feel, well, I'm taking more stuff. The more stuff I got, the better chance I got. I'm going to take more stuff. But the second idea, love to see this, is when you play knight G to E7. Very common, very common. And you're going to have some major opportunities. And the third is just simply knight to F6. Those are the 3 main moves. You might occasionally see D6 as well. We may briefly look at that. But those are the moves. The 3 main moves that you'll see here are just taking, knight here, or knight here. But the first move we're going to look at is the most common that I see is just taking more stuff. And the first thing you want to do right away is snap out this queen to B3. Keeping this in mind, there's certain moves, certain themes in the Evans Gambit you're going to see all the time. And this is one of them. Queen snapping out right here, getting ready to throw a massive killer check right here. And Black's got to figure out what to do. And really, there's not a whole lot he can do. There's no, this move is not really working. You will see occasionally him try this, thinking that this defends right here. The best move is Queen F6. That's kind of rare too. But let's just look at real quick. I mean, that's pretty obvious what to do. Just, just to keep things simple. If this happens, just freaking take it. Just take it, and then he's going to take back, and you're completely, I don't know, White's got a nice advantage right here. I wouldn't say completely winning, but already, he's only got one move. He's going to go here, and from here, just go ahead and back that bishop right back off, and you're doing fine right here as White. But more than likely, Black's not going to play that because Black sees that you're just going to take the knight. So I see Queen E7 more than Queen F6, so I definitely have to talk about Queen E7. This seems way more common for some reason. If this happens, you really don't have, I mean, there's some temptations to bring out. I found that these moves don't really do much, and eventually I just went with this. You just take knights, take C3. Yes, the bishop will take. This is kind of annoying. You feel like your attack's kind of being dampened here. But after knight F6 right here, this is another one of those moves I'm talking about that you got to keep in mind. An Evans Gambit move is bishop A3. Bishop A3 is awesome. It'll keep him from castling, oftentimes attacking the queen. Of course, in this situation, yes, they're going to play D6. And all these moves, this is going to happen. You'll be in this position because all these moves are so natural. I mean, they're just the obvious. Obviously, he's going to play D6. He just is. That's what he's going to play. And right here, boom, with E5. You're just do not let them castle. Do not let them castle. Now you're attacking the knight. He can't just castle or you take the knight. So something has to be done. And I see a lot of moves here. We're going to look at knight E4, which is a move just to kind of counterattack, attack your queen. If this happens, you can just drop down to c2, and now you are attacking him. So black may decide to move here to c5 right here, and now we can go rook e1. We're just continuing to develop, and yes, at this point, black could try to castle, but I wouldn't recommend that because after this move, you're attacking the queen, and this is just completely devastating. There's just way too much here, and black is losing right here completely here. Queen takes d6, and now knight to g5. We're threatening mate right here. G6 is going to come in. And from here, bishop can take on c5 if you ever get to this position, because you can see the possibility of queen takes. You're going to take here with check and pick up the queen. So let's back up. So after queen takes here on c3, we had knight coming out to f6, bishop a3, d6. This is all possible, very possible. e5 comes in. I had knight e4, queen c2 attacking here. And then knight jumping over to c5. From here, I had rook e1. We saw what happens if he tried to castle right here. But he may play bishop e6, just trying to close this, just kind of cut off some of this space between the rook and the queen here, trying to cut off some of the possibilities of taking and getting the queen in trouble. So he may play bishop e6, very common. And here, it feels like kind of the dust has settled. And black is playing pretty well, but look at still white still has a massive advantage despite black doing everything they can. H4 right here. And if he tries to castle over here kingside, boom, we're going to threaten mate. And it's almost no way to get out of this. You could try g5. Just take here, you're attacking the queen. He has to do something. If he takes back here, there's just too strong of too many pieces are out for white. The development is too much. We could take here, takes here, knight takes e6, and if he takes right here, rook takes, and look at this, wherever the queen goes, probably going to have a discovered attack on the queen, and there's just way too much white, as you can see, completely winning right here. But I want to back all the way up. Those are just some sidelines that you're gonna have to know them, because the Evans Gambit, we go back here at the beginning after he takes, we just castle, takes again, queen zooms out here. This is pretty rare, but we know what to do. This is going to be very common. Queen e7 is just going to happen. So just remember, after queen e7, you can just take here. But what about, and after queen e7, this move doesn't really work because, again, he has this. But if he goes queen f6, another move I see, now we can go with bishop g5, attacking the queen. There's no pawn to annoy you here. And pretty much queen has to go to g6. I have been in this situation where you have an opponent who just can't help themselves. They always have to counterattack. They just like to counterpunch. So they'll play knight d4. That's a huge mistake. And here's why. You're going to take the queen. There's a sequence here. And it's going to end with this bishop falling. Going to take the queen. He's going to have to take your queen right here. You're going to take back, and look here. You can already see this bishop is in trouble, or he's got to pick. He's got to save the bishop, or he's got to take. And more than likely, he takes here, you take here. White's completely winning. So backing up, forget about that. After bishop attacking the queen here on f6, the queen's going to go to g6. And what to do here? Again, knight f3. It's one of those situations. Black is doing well enough that you do have to go ahead and play this move. Bishop will take. Queen will take. And from here, black is looking to castle. So he's going to play his knight from g to e7. I like to go ahead and just snag it. Take it right here. And this is a key situation right here, because black doesn't want to take with the king. He wants to take, he doesn't want to do that. So if you get in this situation, just to back up, because just to recap, this is after queen has come out to f6. You've attacked the queen. The queen's going to move to the side here like this. Just take, take, take. And from here, if the knight comes here wanting to castle, snag the knight. And if he takes back with the knight, which is most likely, you can see, you've seen that sidebar go crazy, because we have this move, knight e5, This is attacking the queen, but it's also attacking f7 with both the bishop and the knight. Absolutely deadly right here. The queen has to move, of course. There's just nothing, no other options right here. There's no counterattacks. I mean, there is, but I mean, that's no, I mean, there's no good counterattacks right here. So queen goes to maybe f6. We're going to take here with check, of course. The king will move somewhere, maybe over here, because if he doesn't move here, if he moves over here, just take more stuff. So the king's going to go over here. And now I like rook to c1, just applying more and more pressure. You can see the Evans Gambit can get black into trouble real quick right here. Your opponent will probably play like c6. You can slide the rook over here and just apply more and more pressure. And white is so much better here. It's ridiculous. So let's move back though, just in case. More than likely, if this happens, again, just to recap again, this is when, after you've gone through the steps, the pawn takes, queen comes out here, a queen goes here to f6, you attack the queen immediately. That's where we're at right here. Queen's going to sidestep right here. You can just take here, takes, this is all fine. And if the knight goes here, we take, and that's what happens if knight takes back. We jump up here. But what if the king takes? I mean, what if he sees all that and king takes? That means he's doing pretty well. You can see, white's still with a slight advantage. I just play e5 here. This is very rare, to be honest, that the king will actually take. Rook e8 might come in, trying to just kind of get this king a little bit safe. And right here, you have a few options. You can bring your rooks over. I just usually, a common move I've seen here is queen a3 check. I started playing just bishop to d3, just attacking the queen right here in this position. Queen, we usually go to h6, and then rook e1. And from here, I mean, this is unlikely you'll get in this position, but black has done a pretty good job, and yet still you have a slight edge. So just play your game from here if you ever get in this position, which is pretty rare, because honestly, 90% of the time, in this position, I get in this position a lot, but knight always takes, and then boom. So this is kind of what I'm hoping for. If king takes, I mean, just do what I said, and you should have a good game. So let's go back to the beginning here, get through the opening moves here of the Evans Gambit. And of course, this is the accepted line. It goes here, it goes here. We're gonna go for the center. He takes, we castle. We saw what happens if he does this. And you're going to shoot your queen out here, and you're going to have lots of good opportunities. What if he doesn't? What if he plays knight to e7, knight g to e7? Love to see this. You can see black is fine. This is a completely even game, but go with this knight g5. Boom. It gives black a little slight edge. Not really sure, but this is still, the threat is, of course, right here. And the reason I love this move is because 99% of the time in my games, black castles, and now look at that. Look at that bar. Of course they castle. It's like, uh-oh, white's being aggressive. I better castle. Queen h5 right here. And uh-oh, look at all this pressure on f7. There's only really one move that I have to play h6 to stop mate, because you're about to checkmate them here on h7. So here you go ahead and take on f7 with the knight. You could take with check with the bishop. This is better right here. Got discovered attacks, and you're attacking the queen. Rook pretty much has to take. If king goes here to h7, which I've seen, you may feel like, oh my, what do I do now? It is you have this check right here. You may be tempting, and I'm not sure. It's probably not that bad, but you can see it's not the best. The best is actually, boom, bishop takes h6. And if he takes, he's going to be mated very quickly. It's pretty obvious what's going to happen there. So he's got big problems right here after bishop takes h6. He may try g6 right here, but the checks continue with knight g5 check. King has to go somewhere, back to h8. And again, there is a discovered attack, but the problem is the queen can be taken. So we have to first just kind of move this queen down to h4, and there's going to be a checkmate here pretty much next move. But usually why it doesn't happen is because king won't go to h7. rook will just take right here, which is, of course, the better move. But then bishop takes with check, take here with check. King goes down to h7 usually. And then we could just take here and get our nice pawn center. Completely winning right here. d6 is the most common move I see. And I just usually fianchetto the bishop right here. And look at the pressure. I mean, look at this king. Look at your king. Look at white's king. Look at black's king. And look at all of this. This is just devastating right here. But to back up, I guess there is a possibility after this he could go to f8. Right here, you're trying to checkmate. I usually just back up this guy because we're trying to just checkmate right here. You can see, yeah, white with the absolute winning advantage right here. It's not even close. D5 has to be played just to stop the checkmate. We can just take right here, and now this guy, this is completely winning because the knight's going to move. You could try to move. It's just over. The game is over. So many pieces are getting involved, and it's just over. Devastating attack right here. So let's back up again, all the way back to win. Evans Gambit. Castle. Nope, we're not looking at that. We're going to look at knight to e7, and I said to play knight g to e7. I said to play knight up to g5 because black's going to castle, and then you're going to go up here. You're going to win the game. But what if they don't castle? We have to consider what if they don't castle. If your opponent is really good, they may play d5. They may see this and play d5 instead. That's the other alternative move that I see occasionally. Not too often. Usually they will castle. But I have a special idea in this situation right here that I really like. Bam! Knight takes f7. It is a fork, and the king has to take it. And this is something you're going to have to study. You could get yourself, as you can see, it's still not like white's completely winning or anything, but you know black is going to be a little bit intimidated. Probably has never seen this before. His king is now out in the open, and it has to be a little bit intimidating for him. He has to be like, oh my gosh, did I just fall into some crazy trap right here? Especially after e takes d5. Now you're attacking the knight. So the knight's going to move probably here to attack the bishop. But all you do is just back up. Now, this line I just showed you is going to happen a lot. There's going to be so many different variations of what you can see here. This what I showed you thus far. This will happen quite a bit. But from here, a lot of moves you just have to be ready for. One I see a lot is queen d6. Stopping this pawn from moving forward to throw in this discovered check right here. This is not great because you have bishop to a3. Again, that move to keep in mind in the Evans Gambit. Now you're attacking the queen. And queen sometimes will slide over here to f6. And here we're just going to keep on pushing forward with the discovered check right here on the king. So this is really good. Obviously, if he tries to block, you're still fine because you can just go ahead and take the knight. Because if he takes here, you can recapture here. So white completely winning right here. Not even a question. So that queen move doesn't work. And quick recap, this is after the sacrifice here. King will take, takes here. Knight almost always goes here. Bishop backs up here. We looked at queen to d6 in this position. Also, I've seen knight 7 to g6. So this move right here just to protect right here. But you still have, now well, actually in this position, we don't immediately play d6. We're going to just attack the knight all over the board. This is what you think about this position. We're attacking the knight all over the board. Knight goes to g4. We're going to attack the other knight. We're going to go with f5. Knight's going to go down to e5. He thinks he's got everything protected right here. We're going to take right here. We're attacking the knight again. So this is a cool position where you can see white has an edge. You have to be careful if his queen tries to go out here, but all you have to do here is h3. We're protecting here with the rook. Everything is fine. This knight is still attacked. This knight is now attacked. It's scary stuff, but the king is out in the open. You still have this discovered attack at any point. White really has so much right here. Should be able to win this. And if this knight moves, you know, say, well, the knight really doesn't have anywhere to move, actually. So just completely winning. I guess he could try back here. You don't even have to take if he does that. You can just move your queen right here. You're trying to freaking just go ahead and end this game as quick as possible. If the rook comes over like this discovered check. You've just been waiting for this. And look at, I mean, the king can't go here, can't go here, doesn't have a whole ton of moves right here. If he just goes back straight to protect the rook, then you can slip over here. We're threatening mate here. Very difficult to defend. Maybe queen comes up here to try to defend this mate, but then you have boom, and you got mate anyway. So, I mean, yeah, just too much right here to handle. And that is if after the sacrifice, king takes, remember, take back, knight here, back up. We looked at queen here. We looked at knight here to g6. Also, oftentimes, the pawn will just take and just allow this check. You just march forward with the check right here. After the king, you can just go ahead and take. Yes, he may want to trade, but after we trade here, you're kind of holding steady right here. Again, it's even, so black has done pretty well. But from here, you should have a decent opportunity. There is some, I mean, this check is out there. If the king just takes here like this, it's all bad for black, as you can see. So that's kind of the idea right there. If he gets too greedy, game's going to be over. So you have lots of traps and things like that. And that's pretty much what to do in the knight e7 variation. Let's back up. After we've castled here, so we've looked at what happens here, what happens here. The last move I wanted to look at here is knight f6. Knight f6. The third thing you'll see, the third move you'll see in response to after you've castled here. And I like the immediate. Yeah, e5 is fine, but I like here the immediate bishop here just to stop the castling. And no castling is not an option. And he will, because it's so predictable that they're going to play d6. It's just pretty much a guarantee. And now e5. I like this just because this is pawn there. If he takes that, that gets rid of that d pawn. And that d pawn was no longer able to block this bishop, which is keeping black from castling. So that's kind of, I like that. Offering this, and oftentimes black will just take it. It really does happen quite a bit. And now queen b3. And look at this here. Just look at this pressure. It's just absolutely insane. And black's probably going to try to play queen to d7 just to try to stop it. Rook e1. We're just going to keep bringing out the pieces. He still can't castle. As long as he can't castle, we're good. Oftentimes I'll see rook. I mean, I'll see just e4, just pushing the pawn here. And you don't really have to move this knight. You can just bring another knight. Bring in more pieces because he can't take because of the pin. So I just play knight d2 right here. And sometimes black will get desperate here and take. But yeah, he's attacking the rook. Guess what? I have a special move right here. Knight takes e4. Take the rook. Take the rook. Honestly, don't care. They're going to take this rook. And we're just going to take back because of this pin right here. And the king almost has to move right. You can see the advantage here. White's completely winning. If the king doesn't move, I mean, there's just going to be just too much. Just some random move or something. And this game is over. This game is over. So, king may have to go to d8 right here. And now, I believe, just bringing the knight up here. Or is it the other knight? Yeah, bring this knight up here. Okay, yeah. So, knight e to g5. And this game is, look at this. I mean, black is just going to resign just out of I mean, all these pieces are just all over black right here. What an amazing game right here. So that's just one line in the knight coming out to f6 variation. So let's go back here. Like I said, after knight f6, this is knight f6 instead of knight e7 or just the pawn taking. We're looking at this move. The first thing you do is just bishop to a3 immediately. d6 will be played. We push here, e5, and we looked at just the pawn taking immediately. Another option I see is just knight taking here. Just take the knight back. D takes on e5, and now queen b3. And again, same concept. Queen has to go to c7 to try to stop it. Remember, she goes here, you just take. So the queen has to go there to c7. You see, we'll just take right here. And no matter what they do, whether it's they push or take, we have actually this queen can fly across the board. So they go here, the queen can fly across the board, threatening stuff here. And just lots of big threats here. And it's just, again, can't castle. Not a whole lot of options here for black. Knight can try to jump and attack you right here. You're just going to throw a check in and pretty much win the game. You can win the knight, or you can just, if they block, just go ahead and checkmate. Game over. There's just too much pressure right here. Too much pressure. Just trying to think, you know, again, they can't even castle. That's the cool thing. Can't even castle. I can't even move this bishop out in one go. If they try to be greedy here with the queen, we're going to bust through right here. Probably going to try something like this. Let's just be honest. In which case, yeah, game's still going to be over. There's just too much. I mean, this is just, it's all bad. So you can see just the attacking power of the Evans Gambit. And I just want to do a quick recap of what we went over today. Also, just to let you know, there is one other move that you occasionally will see. I said I might touch on it. And that is, let's back up here. Instead of after you've castled, we looked at pawn just taking. We looked at knight here. We looked at knight here. There also occasionally will just be simple d6. Again, queen b3. Let's not play around. Let's go straight for it. If queen tries to go to d7, we'll just take the pawn here, get our nice center. And if he tries to bring out his knight, sometimes knight will not go here because he sees that if he goes here, I might play e5. So knight might try there. But that kind of blocks off the defense here, doesn't it? So that's why if they see that, they will play down to f6. And we're going to do just what I talked about a minute ago, which is this. And after they do this, we can take back, knight takes, pawn takes, and now this knight is attacked. So after this knight moves, there is the possibility here of attacking the queen. This bishop can still come out here at any point, and you're just completely destroying your opponent. So those are just some of the ideas here. You know, some of the same themes and ideas just to keep in mind. Some moves like the queen jumping out here, this bishop jumping out here, the knight taking the little trade here on c3. Lots of these ideas, but quick recap. This is the Evans Gambit. We're at the takes. It goes here, it backs up. We simply play d4 takes, castles, and then we're looking at if he takes here, we're going queen right here. We're going to try to just devastate our opponent. If the queen comes here, we're going to go bam like this. Queen moves to the side. Just keep these moves in mind here. Queen's going to move to the side right here, and in this case, we can take. Here we can take. And if they try to do this, we take. And if the knight takes, boom, there's an awesome variation right here. But anyway, and of course, back here again, if the knight comes here, we're going to go here because they're probably going to castle. I'm going to go bam. And you can see right here, game is freaking over. We're going to take here. If the king goes here, we have this sacrifice. Boom, game is freaking over. And then the third most common variation here after this entire opening is when the knight just goes here. And I like to play this right away. So he'll play this. Then we're going to go ahead and push forward right here. If they take it, now the queen comes out, and there's just a lot of attacking chances right here. So those are just some of the lines right here to keep in mind for the Evans Gambit Part 2. This video today was all about, of course, the bishop backing up after this move, backing up. And in the next few episodes, we'll look at when the bishop moves back this way, and we'll also look at some lines where they refuse the gambit. They don't want, they're scared, and they don't want to take it. So those are ideas where the bishop doesn't even take right here. It goes back here. Or sometimes even the knight takes, but that's pretty much transposes into the first video where you just castle. So anyway, let me know what y'all think. I hope y'all enjoyed part 2 of the Evans Gambit. Make sure to hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.